So hello students, I guess you are fit and fine at your place. So let's start today's class, okay? So students, I have something for you. So now you have to identify the name of this object which I have pasted a picture in front of your screen. Yes? Is it a? Yes, very good. So it is our planet Earth, right? So what kind of shape it is? Yes students? Is it a three-dimensional shape or two-dimensional shape? Yes, it is a planet Earth. So which kind of shape it is? Yes, it is a three-dimensional shape. Okay, very good. So identify now the geometrical shape. As you said, this is three-dimensional, but what is a particular name for this shape? Write it down your answer in the comment box if you find it out, the geometrical shape for this. Yes, very good. So it is basically a sphere, right? We have studied in the previous class about the sphere only, where we discussed a few examples where we talk about the sphere, right? So there, students, we talk about the sphere where we have a three-dimensional shape and which is looking like a circle, right? Which is in 3 dimensions. So this is our geometrical shape you identify. Very good, students. Now students, we have an activity. So do you see our earth again, right? But now there is a one word is there which is written in front of your screen, that is equator, right? So you have also noticed there is one line also, right? So students, suppose I want to cut this planet, okay, into two pieces. So what is going to be happen? If I want to cut from these between, so what is going to be happen? Let's see. So see, the planet, our earth, is being cut it into two pieces. So do you see these pieces? Yes, right? So what kind of shape it is? Is it a two-dimensional shape or three-dimensional shape? Yes, it is a two-dimensional shape. Okay, so two-dimensional shape, no, it is not a two-dimensional, but it is a three-dimensional shape. Okay, so if you say that it is a sphere, when we cut a sphere into two parts, so what we get? So basically students, we get a three-dimensional shape which is a hemisphere. Okay, whenever you cut any sphere into parts, we get a hemisphere. So that way you can identify. Okay, so students, suppose I want to paint this earth from outward. So how much paint is required for me to paint, and how much cost rupees I have to give to the shopkeeper to paint our earth? Do you know? Okay, so students, basically we are doing it for a hemisphere. Okay, so we are going to discuss about our topic of discussion, that is surface area of hemisphere. Okay, whenever you cut any sphere into pieces, you get hemisphere. So that way you will find it out. Okay, so we are going to discuss about its concept, okay, and its application. So these are the two things we are going to do for today's class. Okay, so let's see what we have. So see, surface area of hemisphere. A hemisphere is obtained when we cut the sphere into two pieces, two equal halves. Okay, so you have to cut it out into two equal halves, so then you will get only the hemisphere. So students, if I draw a line of in this sphere, okay, so now after cutting I get two hemisphere. Do you notice, right? So these are the two halves you will get when you cut a sphere. You get two hemispheres. So first hemisphere is this one, right? Let me take other color. And second hemisphere is this. So these are the two hemispheres you will get whenever you cut a sphere. So then you will obtain a hemisphere. Hemisphere consists of two faces, mainly a flat face or curved surface. Because students, let's say first is this surface and second is this surface. This is a flat one, right? And this is a curved one. Because we know that the sphere is a curved surface, right? And whenever you cut it, you get a sphere flat surface along with a curved surface. So these are the two faces we get for a hemisphere. Okay, now students, we have to find it out its total surface area. So how we will? So students, you can see I have a watermelon, right? So I have cut it into to get a hemisphere. You can see I get it, right? So students, I have not eaten. I've cut it into equal half. A half is given to my brother and a half I have in my hand. Okay. So students, if I want to calculate the total surface area of hemisphere, so what we required? So you have to require, students, firstly we know that we have two faces, right? Surface, first is this curved one and second is this flat one. Okay. For the flat, you can see it is in the form of a circle, right? So it is in the form of a circle. So we will calculate the area for the circle. Okay, and this is 2 pi r square, which is you get for the curved surface area. Okay, so from there we will come to know that the total surface area of a sphere. Okay, so we have a total surface area of a sphere, that is 2 pi r square plus pi r square equal to 3 pi r square. So whenever you have to calculate all the part of it, that is flat as well as curved, then you have to calculate for the total surface area. Okay, let's see what about the curved surface area. So for the curved surface area, students, what you required? Only the curved part, only the curved part. Okay, this part you required. You don't require this flat part. Leave the flat part which is in circle. Okay, see, my brother has eaten it, the same watermelon. The one hemisphere I have not eaten it, but the second hemisphere eaten by my brother. See, now students, you can see we have to calculate the curved surface area of hemisphere. So we always calculate the outer part of it, that is curved part. Okay, so how you will do it? We know that the total surface area of any sphere, what is that? That we discussed in our previous class, that is 4 pi r square. This is sphere. So if we cut a sphere into two equal parts, we get curved surface area. Okay, that is act as a hemisphere. So make sure, students, so this is our curved surface area for this type of watermelon. And if we want to calculate the curved surface, then this is for. So you have to make sure before doing the question what we have to calculate. Okay, now students, you have to list some example of hemisphere from your surrounding. Where do you find some hemisphere? Where do you observe these kind of shapes in your surrounding? Yes, do you find any shapes? Okay, so I have put in some shapes of a hemisphere. Let me show you. See, first you can see this is a bowl, right? So it is the shape of a hemisphere, right? Another one, here we can see a igloo, right? So there also we can see our hemisphere, which is at this shape, so that way. And if we talk about this mushroom, it is also in the shape of a hemisphere. So these are the few examples of hemisphere. Where do you find it out? In your surrounding. There are more shapes, students. Okay, so let's come forward. So now students, you have to tell me the surface area of hemisphere. So let me talk about firstly let me talk about here. Tell me your answer in the form of for the curved surface area. Yes, for the curved you have to tell me. Okay. Yes, for the curved we have 2 pi r square. Yes, students. Okay, so this is our answer for the curved surface area. Okay, let's come forward. Now students, you have to read the statement and tell me how you will proceed for this question. Yes, firstly you have to find the curved surface area and the total surface area for a hemisphere. It's given to you whose radius is 21 centimeter. So let's see students, you have this kind of hemisphere, right? So let's see, firstly find it out its radius. So radius is given to us, which is in the form of 21. So let's mark a radius. So this is our radius. So we can calculate the radius. So let's do for first, that is curved surface area of. So we know that for the curved surface area we have the formula 2 pi r square, right? So you just substitute the value 2 into 22 by 7 into 21 into 21, because we have r square, right? So calculate the answer and tell me. Cancel out all the terms which is required. Yes, students. Okay, very good. So you at last you will get match your answer to 1778. Okay, so do it. That do you get the same answer or not? Okay, write it down your answer in the comment box. Now students, let's come forward for the total surface area. So we know that for the total surface area we have to calculate this part also and this other part, which is the flat part and the curved part, right? For the total surface area we required the curved surface area, that is 2 pi r square plus pi r square, which is the area of a base, which is a circle, right? So you just add, we get 3 pi r square, right? So do it. Let's substitute the terms. What do you get at last? What's the answer? Cancel out all the required terms which is to be cancelled. So multiply the terms which are 3, 22, 3 into 22 into 3 into 21. So do you get the answer? So you will get around 4158 centimeter square. Okay, very good students. So let's come forward. Yes, 1 minute. So this is your answer, right? You will multiply it and this answer. Okay students, there is one question arises. Is a hemisphere a polyhedron or not? If not, you have to give the reason. Yes students, think about it, and if it is not, so give the reason. It is there or not? Yes, very good. So students, as we know that hemisphere is not a polyhedron, right? Because we can say here a hemisphere having two faces. First is a flat one and second is a curved one. So as we know that polyhedron are those shapes which are made up of polygons, but here we don't say any other polygons, right? So that's why we are not able to consider that this is also, as we know the circle is there, but other part which is curved part is none other, it is not a polygon, so we will not consider this type of shapes as a polyhedron. So this is not a hemisphere, is not a polyhedron. Okay, so now students, state true or false. A hemisphere is a three-dimensional figure obtained by cutting a sphere in half. Do you get? Yes, so that is the correct. Very good. So yes, it is a three-dimensional figure and it is only obtained when you cut the sphere into half, right? So let's students, what we will do, it is a true, right? So this is a true statement. So let's come forward. Now students, do you identify any geometrical shape in the given image? Yes. Okay, so where do you find it out? We have first at the top, right, and others at the bottom one. So I have circle, I'm making boxes for each of them, right students? So students, this is a geometrical shape of a hemisphere. Very good. We can see here we three hemisphere we can see in this picture. Now students, come forward. So there is one question. Okay, so a hemispherical dome of a building needs to be painted. So you have to paint the domes which you see in this building. Okay, so if the hemisphere is the circumference of a base, now students, you have a circumference of a dome. So circumference, you know that for a circle, right? And the circular part we at the bottom we have, for this we have a circumference is given to us. Now students, you have to find out the cost of painting, and the cost of painting for per centimeter square is given to you. So we need to calculate the area. For area we have a surface area, right? So firstly we can use our this statement which is given to us, that is circumference of a base of a dome which is 17.6 meter. So we can use the surface circumference. So students, do you know the circumference of a circle? What is that? That is 2 pi r, right? So substitute all the terms. We don't have radius, so leave it. Move these terms to the other side because we have to find it out the radius, right? So students, tell me the radius value is in meter, right? Okay, very good. So we get the radius value, that is 2.8 meter. So this is the radius value we get for this hemispheric dome, right? So we will calculate it. We have calculated the radius which we get it which is in the form of a 2.8 meter, right? So now we have to calculate the curved surface area, because we only have to cover its outer part. We don't have to cover the base part. Okay, so we have to paint only the outer part, so we will use there only for the curved surface area. So you know the formula for the curved surface area of a hemisphere? Yes, that is 2 pi r square, right? So we will use this formula to calculate. So students, you just substitute the terms in this formula and calculate what we get it. So let's do it together. So what you have to do, you have to take the value of a pi, that is 22/7. It is not given, but we can take this much, okay? And we can take r square, so we have r 2.8 as well as 2.8. Okay, so just cancel out those terms which is required to be cancelled, and then you will calculate the values. So we get at the last, that is 2 into 22 into 0.4 and 2.8. So calculate its answer. Is it coming out in centimeter or meter? So students, make sure it here should be centimeter. Okay, it is in the meter only, centimeter. Okay, now you have to tell me the answer. Yes, for the curved surface area we get 49.28 centimeter square. So you will calculate firstly the curved surface area. Okay, now students, we have a question for the cost. So we will calculate the cost. So how you will calculate? Because we know that for 100 centimeter square we have rupees 5. So we will use this statement to find it out our answer. So this statement we have to use it. Okay, so let's see how. So now the cost of painting of 100 centimeter square is how much? Let's put it out. That is 5, right? So if we multiply it for the 500, right, so we will get our cost of rupees into it. So you will do it for it. If we talk about for the meter, right, so we will get it, our answer, in the form of a meter. So students, make sure your answer, you will get it after multiplying it. So you have to multiply these two numbers, then you will get the answer. So write it down your answer in the comment box and tell me. Yes, so please cross check. Is it 24,640 rupees? Okay, so this much of cost you have to require to paint this hemispherical dome of a building. Okay, now students, there is one more question where I have given you options. So for that you have to take it as Chodalna has a bowl in the shape of a hemisphere. So the radius of a bowl is 4 centimeter. So what is the total surface area of this bowl? So you have to take the value of pi as 22/7. So for the total curved surface area, for what we have, students, for the total surface area, we have 3 pi r square, right? So use this formula and tell me what is the correct answer. Yes student, very good. So we at last check your answer, okay, and tell me in the next class. Okay. So now let's recap what we have discussed today. So we have discussed about hemisphere, which is obtained when we cut the sphere into two halves. A hemisphere consists of two faces, namely a flat face and the curved face, right? So we have to write it down for the curved surface area of a hemisphere. That is, we know that that is 2 pi r square, and if we talk about total, that is 3 pi r square. So these are the things related to our hemisphere. So now students, you have to choose which of these is a hemisphere. Is it A, B, C or D? Write it down your answer in the comment box for this. Choose which one. Yes students, very good. So we have C is the correct answer, right? Because this is a cone, this is a semicircle, this is a cylinder. So C is the correct answer for a hemisphere. So now students, these are the few questions you have to do it. So first question, you have to read it properly. Second, also for that you have to calculate total surface area, and the third for the curved surface area of hemisphere. To use the formula, then you will easily able to find it out as solutions. Okay. At last, we have an activity. You have to collect some substances which are made up of spheres, and you have to cut it down